Week 9 of the NFL season's come and gone. It means every team has at least played 8 games this year. The true kind of official midway point of the season. Yippee skippy. We're finding out who the really good teams are, maybe the great teams are, and by now we know who most of the suck factories are. Looking at you, Oakland Raiders. Looking specifically at you, John Gruden. So let's take a look back at the week that was, week number 9 of the 2018 NFL season. It all started off on Thursday night as Gruden made Nick Mullens. Who? Nick Mullens. He made him look like a god. Like you're sitting there and thinking, is that a right-handed Steve Young? Is that freaking Joe Montana? Like, that's how bad it's gotten in Oakland. You trade away former first-round picks. Don't have anything to backfill them. You'll wonder why your team goes out there and lays a fucking egg on Thursday night. Imagine being idiotic enough to pick the Raiders to beat the 49ers, who were trotting out a practice squad quarterback, Nick Mullens. Who would have been dumb enough to do that? Please forgive me. Anyways, moving on to the Sunday action. The Steelers got their revenge on the Ravens, and it's interesting now you're hearing talk about the Ravens and potentially looking to move on at the head coaching position. Is John Harbaugh's job at stake? In the meantime, the Steelers all of a sudden have quietly started to piece things together. They're coming. 5-2-1. They're not perfect, but they're in the picture. They're in the mix, and they're still a force to be reckoned with in the AFC. And although the Browns fired Hugh Jackson and Todd Haley and didn't wait for a bye week, they just couldn't help themselves. It's a new coach, same sorry-ass Browns, as the Chiefs handled business in the dog pound on Sunday. Took a big hulking dump on them. Threw dog biscuits all over their nut sacks. The Chicago Bears faced off against Nathan Peterman, who was starting an NFL game for an NFL team. How you think that went? Now, granted, it's not all Nathan Peterman's fault, as a couple of the turnovers weren't his doing whatsoever, but ultimately, that Bills' offense stinks. Nathan Peterman's not going to elevate the play of anybody, and the Bears benefited. 28-0 lead at halftime, winning 41-9. Bear down, bitches! Sam Darnold threw 4 picks and had a rough day, and the Dolphins had a pick 6, take it back to the house. They out-uglied the Jets. They out-uglied them, that's all you could say. The Vikings easily dispatched and dismissed of the Lions. The Vikings are starting to pull it together and play much better football. That Sunday night matchup in 2 weeks against the Bears is going to be very, very interesting. The Atlanta Falcons, coming off of a bye, go on the road and they chop down the Washington Redskins a little bit down to size. It's not quite time to dismiss the Atlanta Falcons just yet. And as far as the Redskins fans, it's what you get for complaining about me not picking your team. I picked your team. Tell me how that ass tastes. You keep it up, I'll pick them the rest of the year. I'm going to put that fucking Jeff Jinks on them, and they'll be damn 5-11. And last time I looked, that Jeff Jinks was so effective on Sunday, you have multiple interior linemen go out for the year with freaking injuries. Paul Richardson's now out for the year, too. They're dropping like flies. Hail to the Redskins, my ass. How about that, Jeff Jinks? That goes for any of you other fan bases. Don't taunt me. You don't want me being that suck of a bitch of your team, because I'll do it, my God. I'll do it. And when I do it, it's the one thing I can fucking get right. I'll jinx the shit out of them. Keep it up, Redskins fans. You don't want me picking your team the rest of the year. They're going to end up 5-11. Cautioning you. The Carolina Panthers ran all over Fitzmagic and the Bucks. 4 rushing touchdowns, and now the Panthers sit there at 6-2. Fitzmagic didn't play poorly, but the Bucks really aren't that good of a team. The magic of Fitzmagic only can carry you so far. It didn't even carry us to a backdoor cover on Sunday. The Houston Texans found a way to hold off the Denver Broncos in Demaryius Thomas's revenge game, and now the Houston Texans have won 6 games in a row. They're sitting at 6-3, and maybe it's time to start taking them a little more seriously. Melvin Gordon handled business. Phillip Rivers handled business on the road, and the Chargers beat the Seahawks, and now the Chargers are sitting there at 6-2. You got to really start taking them seriously. 6-2, nobody's talking about them. It's crazy. In the big feature matchup, the marquee game of the week, even though it wasn't in prime time, Saints-Rams, you had to figure this was going to be good. High-scoring, explosive shootout, and it was. But going into New Orleans against a good Saints team, a really good Saints team, meaning that New Orleans crowd is going to care there in the Superdome. You got Drew Brees, one of the all-time greats. You got weapons like Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara, who scores 3 touchdowns on you. It's a really tough place to play. The Saints handled their business. They beat the Rams 45-35. Now they've got the best record in the NFC. They've got the leg up on home field advantage throughout the playoffs. A really huge win for the Saints. And right now, based off of the narrative of the season and what the Saints are doing after that opening week loss to Fitzmagic and the Bucs, you're looking at Drew Brees halfway through the season probably as your leading candidate for most valuable player. You can at me in the comments if you want and tell me something differently, but, I mean, come on. It's really hard to argue. Really hard to argue. The other big marquee matchup of the week was Tom Brady, Aaron Rodgers. The Packers coming to Foxborough. It was a game for 3 quarters, but Tom Brady's team is better than Aaron Rodgers' team, and it's that simple. It's fun to see these types of matchups because unless they play in the Super Bowl, it may never happen again. It's just a shame from a pure entertainment standpoint that Aaron Rodgers' team wasn't a little bit better, so we couldn't have gotten a more competitive matchup through the course of 4 quarters. But nothing compares to that Monday night stinker. Imagine having 2 weeks to prepare. You're at home, and you get boat raced by the Titans. That's the Dallas Cowboys. You lose 28-14, prime time, Monday night, 2 weeks to prepare. The hell is wrong with you? Jason Garrett. Just saying. Those were the games of the week. Let's talk about the winners and the losers. The winners, the Pittsburgh Steelers. They get revenge on the Ravens. Now they're sitting at first place in the division at 5-2-1. They're coming. The Atlanta Falcons, a road game against a decent opponent in the Redskins, and they went out there and kicked the crap out of the Redskins. The Falcons aren't done just yet. When you talk about MVP discussion, I've got to say this. If this Atlanta Falcons team, as decimated as they've been by injuries, particularly on the defensive side of the ball, makes the playoffs, you'd have to think Matt Ryan has to be back in that MVP conversation. And then you look at the New Orleans Saints. You beat the team that was trending as the best team in the NFC, perhaps the best team in football, the lone undefeated team in football, and you just took it to them, and you beat them. You beat their ass. Now, you're the top dogs in the NFC at the moment. You've got the tiebreaker at the end of the year, potentially for home field advantage. And who the hell wants to go into New Orleans in January and beat Drew Brees and the Saints in the Superdome? Good luck with that one. The losers of the week, John Gruden. That's about enough about that. The Cleveland Browns. The hell else you got to really say about that? And then, of course, the Dallas Cowboys. And frankly, we've gotten to the point now where we talk so much about a mediocre to crappy organization, a mediocre to crappy football team. You got boat raced by a mediocre Titans team by 2 touchdowns at home on Monday night. Not really much more you can say. As far as my 2-minute thrill, my parting shot for the week, Nick Mullens. Imagine the whole world's betting against you. The whole world thinks you're a joke. The whole world thinks that you're going to fall flat on your face in a standalone primetime game on Thursday night, and you go out there and you stick it to the Raiders. We're always going to remember this, no matter what happens the rest of his career, the rest of NFL time. This game will always be remembered last Thursday night as the Nick Mullens game. 'Tis better to be remembered for something good than nothing at all. And you see a guy like Nick Mullens get an opportunity. He's worked hard, undrafted, practice squad, worked his way up, taking advantage of an opportunity. The Garoppolo injury out for the year, C.J. Beathard out with injury. You're given a chance, you're given an opportunity, and you seize upon it, and you take advantage of it. Now, is Nick Mullens a long-term answer at quarterback for them? Hell no. It's a nice story, though. And it's cool to see stories like this because it does remind you that hard work can pay off. It does remind you that passion, dedication, commitment to your craft and what you do can yield you positive results. So for however long Nick Mullens is going to be the starting quarterback of the San Francisco 49ers, whether it's 1 week or whether it might be the rest of the damn season, I'm going to be rooting for him, and I'm going to be rooting for him hard. Because it is guys like this who overcome obstacles and odds. It is guys like this who bust their tail and work their ass off that deserve our admiration and respect. So you go do your thing, Nick Mullens, even if you come crashing back down to earth this weekend.